Hi, my name is Ajai Ahluwalia and I'm the Head of Supply Chain at Renewable UK and also the delivery lead for the Supply Chain and Clusters Working Group within the Offshore Wind Industry Council.
What is the Offshore Wind Industry Council? What's that all about?
So the Offshore Wind Industry Council is a UK initiative, a group, that is made up of UK government, so representatives from the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, as well as industry representatives covering the OEMs, or the original equipment manufacturers, as we call them, the tier ones, as well as developers and operators. So in terms of organisations, we have representatives from the likes of Ørsted or Equinor or SSE or Scottish Power Renewables, but also organisations like Vestas, Siemens and JDR Cables.
Now, here at the Offshore Wind Journal Conference, you spoke about a turbulent year in 2023 and highlighted a number of challenges. Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges that the industry faced.
So again, through the prism of the UK, I would say that the biggest single event that people can sort of coalesce around is the unsuccessful allocation round 5 results that happened last year in 2023. So what that meant was, in the UK, we have a contract for difference scheme. The government had identified a strike price and a budget accordingly, but at that price, no developer said, we will want to participate. So no offshore wind farms gained a contract or decided to opt in that year. Further to that are the knock-on effects of what that means for the supply chain, for example. So one of the things that we're constantly trying to do is to provide confidence to the supply chain so they can make the required investments. But obviously, seeing a completely unsuccessful allocation round 5 meant that the supply chain is suddenly thinking to itself, oh, how do we deal with this? So there was the double impact of no offshore wind farms being sort of winning contracts, but also what the knock-on effects for the supply chain and other parts of the industry as well.
Now, how's the government reacted to that too?
What we saw in allocation round 5 were strike prices of £44 per megawatt hour. That was for fixed bottom offshore wind farms, and £116 per megawatt hour for floating offshore wind farms. As I said, no developer opted to take a contract of that value, but what the government has done subsequently is, for allocation round 6, increased 44 to £73 per megawatt hour and gone from 116 to 176 for floating as well. But on top of that, the government's put other directed interventions in place, like the FLOMIS, that's the Floating Offshore Wind Manufacturing Investment Scheme. They've announced, which is sort of funding for the supply chain and ports to help get the facilities in place for the offshore wind industry, but also looked at new things such as the Green Industries Growth Accelerator, which is again another government support mechanism to support the supply chain, or ideas that will help the energy industries and offshore wind.
Now, one of the other challenges highlighted by the panel discussion was in regards to people. What should the industry be doing to attract young talent to the industry?
I think firstly is telling that story of what the opportunities are in the first instance. If you've, on a personal level, having worked out there in the offshore environment, I'm still blown away by the size and scale of some of these things. So coming from an engineering background, that was what ticked my box, as it were, or floated my boat, pardon the pun. But I think, as I mentioned on the panel today, is there's also that positive story of a growth industry, and also an industry that is seeking to help solve some of the world's problems, including climate change. Again, from a UK perspective, what we're seeing is investment in these industries helping our struggling economies as well. So I think there's this positive story of how people can get into an industry that's growing, hopefully see their career grow a bit as well, but also do a job with purpose, do a job that will actually help some of the world's problems as well.